Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pillar to Post. I am Rashawn Aline, and I'm joined by Colby Hamling, and together we are going to recap the Barbados uh, Breeders' Thoroughbred Association race day, and it featured two races: the Breeders' Sprint and the BTB Estates and Trophy. And Cobia, there was a lot of talent on display last race day. From Dapper David, very impressive 2-year-old win. Princess Aruna off the bench, Bahari Cove, with continuing his good form, and someone picking fantastic justice in their pick six with the carryover. So there was so much display of talent last race day.
I do agree, Rashawn. I was very impressed with Dapper David and Bahari Cove, especially. Bahari Cove, I find no matter what question you ask him, he has an answer for everything, and he answers it with flying colors. He's stepping up every time and giving it all he can. I'm very impressed by this colt. Um, I must say though, what blew my mind once more, I don't care how many times she does it, Nostradasa putting such a distance and being able to finish is mind blowing to me, Rashawn.
No, this filly is immaculate. Like Jarrell Beckles got on board and now has figured out the cheat code for Nostradasa to do these things and do these things so sensationally well. And I think anyone can assume from the time entries came out, and there were only four entered, and only Nostradasa had speed.
It's
It was
who's
a
going to run
foregone
second.
conclusion. Right. It was a matter of who is going to run second. It's either how fast she's going to run, how far she's going to win by, or who's going to run second. And Jarrell Beckles just does let Nostradasa does what's so good to her and comes so easily to her, and she just runs them into the ground from the get go.
Uh, just as you said, from the time I saw injuries, I knew Gerald is simply going to be a passenger. Simply hold on and don't fall off, jockey. Let's see how much distance you're going to put on them. Let's see how easy you're going to make it this time. Um, the
Yeah, I
fractions,
don't think. Yeah, as you said, sorry, the fractions I think is something worth mentioning because she ran 25 and 2 and 49 flat. The 49 flat is something that was our second fastest uh, half mile of the day, only second to Marvel, who was blazing a 48 in a sprint earlier. So this is letting you know how fast this filly is. He also keeps her off the rail, so I think this just lets her be in that free-flowing gallop that comes so easy to her, and the rest are, nowhere near to this filly.
a whole different zip code, if you ask me. Um, I was very impressed by Edward Walcott's horse, Kite, being able to defeat two horses that were the runner up and the second runner up in the Barbados Derby, and actually Midsummer winner Raconteur, who I have a big question mark on because Raconteur has not given me what I want to see since the Midsummer. But the thing is
No,
that was on soft going. There's been two hard tracks since that, and I haven't gotten what I'm looking for.
No, obviously heavy's the head that wears the crown, and when you get the title of Midsummer winner or classic winner, the expectations completely double or they rise after that. And since then, he's gone in two firm tracks, as you mentioned, and he's hit the board in the Derby and ran fourth here. But I think he's been very disappointed since then. Is it a question of does he actually stay? Again, as I mentioned with our Midsummer recap, that he is a no not again, and he stayed in the Midsummer, but maybe circumstances just led to him winning on that day. But since then,
Yeah,
he's
maybe
really
just
been a right or the going. But since then, he's really been a letdown. Kite finishing third here as a maiden, and the Derby runner-up a half length ahead of him. That is very impressive. And he's the son of Princess Tiana and Stormara, and Princess Tiana, you mentioned before, got really better when she got older. So Kite may be coming into his own. Maybe again, circumstances led him to finish third here, but very impressive performance from him. But no match, no matter what they did for Nostradasa.
Nostradasa, unquestioned, unpressed. I was actually impressed myself at the fact that she sped up at the half mile unnecessarily, unpressed. Jarrell did not ask her to do that. She did that by herself.
Yeah,
That's her
sometimes
natural
it's just
speed.
it's just a matter of how easy you're going fast, not necessarily because fast comes easy to her. So, she's just feeling good up front by herself, no pressure, and it turns into a 24-second quarter, which is blazing speed. So we'll see what she continues to do. She's probably gonna get the rest of the season off, and probably look forward to seeing her resurface in the 9 furlong Breeders' Classic. Gonna be a bigger field than 4 horses for sure. The nominations are
Gonna
already
be
out for
older
that.
horses as well. That's her next
Exactly.
step.
But again, still in the list of older horses, none of them seem remotely as fast as she is. So we'll see if she can, fly the flag for the 3-year-olds when she faces the older horses in November.
And you know, Rashawn, I'm going to reflect on something you said just a few seconds ago. You spoke about an outsider of fantastic justice winning. Now,
Right.
you noted that. I have to note Paper Trail. Who would have guessed Paper Trail?
No, the BTBA sprint was one that really was a surprise, but for a lot of reasons. And Paper Trail honestly bred very well when you look at this animal, Rockamador out of Vapor Trail, and he's a good animal. He's hovering in the 50s. Now he's a little higher after this victory. He's rated in the 70s now, but you think, okay, Dominus is who he is. He's gonna run this field off their feet, and he did that pretty early. But Paper Trail just sat on the rails all the way around and came away victorious.
Yeah, and if you ask me, I believe Paper Trail is the reason we only had one pick six winner. And during my interview with Raheem Thorpe, he did mention somewhere around here he picked up a spot, and he said his horse was traveling marvelously well. And he said, I can't stay behind Dominus. I have to switch out. I have to give him free and clear running. And if you ask me, this is what won him the race, because right here, Dominus unfortunately hurt himself. I hate to see such a good sprinter go like that. But he obviously messed up a good couple horses, and Paper Trail was not affected in any way. This makes it the right of the day for me by Raheem Thorpe. I think he did a marvelous job on Paper Trail. I think there's nothing more the trainer could have asked from this horse nor this jockey. Job well done in my books.
No, obviously hindsight is 2020, and I think Paper Trail with the pedigree and how he's now rattled off 3 wins in a row. He's a horse who has not been able to put a lot of races together, and it begs you want to think now that if he were maybe a little sounder and more consistent racing, if he just would have been rated this high from the get-go, winning and then having his issues and not hitting the board may have kept him rated a little lower. But now that Sean Hall's got him in good form, he took a chance in the BTBA sprint with a 52 rated horse and was able to win the race. And then, to Dominus, it's unfortunate to see, such a stellar career come to a sad end like that. Luckily, Dominus is alive and well, so good on Ray Williams for pulling him up when he felt something go wrong. And I think Dominus goes down in history as one of our greater Creole sprinters, especially of the modern era. But Paper Trail is one of those horses that are going to be, you missed the funeral last time, and we'll see what he does in the third season. But he's now going to be one that is worth noting going forward, whether with Creoles or imported.
Yes, I do agree with you, Rashawn. And I wonder, as you said, if he was sound, if he was always at 100%, how good would he be right now? Because he made it seem like this was not necessarily a walk in the park, because
Right.
Major Dan did keep him honest, but he did show I can boogie with these boys as long as I'm at 100%. I think I can commend Life is Great on a very commendable run at the top of the stretch. He was last. I don't know where he came from. I thought at top of the stretch, that's where he was going to stay. But I
No.
suppose at the end of the race, the pace was coming back, and that's usually what he runs onto. And Dancing Prospector, who I thought would have been the winner, was unfortunately fourth. But he gave all that he could. He got into a bit of a interference at the top of the stretch with the same Dominus, but I don't think it would have stopped him from winning the race. I think he ran the best possible position for him.
No, yeah, I watched this race from on the inside the parade ring, and when Life is Great was coming in, I was like, "Oh wait, this horse placed." So watching it back, I was very, surprised to see such a commendable performance out of the gelding, and he also, got promoted a couple of pounds, so he's in a higher class as well. And then Dancing Prospector, I thought that would have been the one who would have won had Dominus stumbled, but I guess Paper Trail and Major Dan are really the ones in form now. But again, another good performance from Paper Trail, now winning three in a row, and that's your right of the day. And we're going to move on to my right of the day, which came a little earlier on the card with Princess Aruna. And this mare now has been doing fantastic things since she's come to Barbados. And obviously, people were a little concerned with her coming off the bench, 128 pounds, a jockey like Ricky Walcott, who is ice cold. But everything worked out, and
The ice is the frosting, man. The ice is the frosting.
and he melted perfectly. I think he could not have been any more cerebral on this mirror, and he was the difference maker. Again, a horse with 128 pounds who doesn't usually have speed. You're a little concerned where the horses in front of her are going to be able to dictate, and they're lighter weighted. But Ricky Walcott just rode with the utmost of confidence. And I want to say we talk about this on social media a little bit with our interaction about the Boxing Day distaff, and I want this to continue to be our push for the Boxing Day distaff because I want to see mirrors like this line up against each other because that's kind
Yes.
of the best we have. And right now, when he makes the move back to the right of the day, when he makes the move at the fourth furlong to go from fifth up to the lead, kind of inject some pace into the race. And again, she has 128 pounds, so making them come to get her, I thought this was very cerebral. Obviously, you do this and you lose. Everyone's like, well, Ricky moved so early. Like, why would you do that? You have the best horse. Just wait and be patient. But kind of slipping them and putting lengths on the horses who were second and third, like Lovely, and Aries, putting like 4 or 5 lengths on them over the hills. The hills, physics is going to take you downhill, is going to be a big thing in the end. And I think Ricky Walcott did his job. And then the last furlong also comes out and in my opinion, it's race writing. Kind of clear of Aries and kind of intimidates Lovely and invigorates Princess Aruna. And she just digs down
Ricky
deeper
Walcott
and
special. He does it the
right,
best.
exactly. And then she ends up clear again because they come to her. Maybe she was waiting on some competition at the top of the stretch. They come to her and she's gone again. So I think Ricky Walcott was really the difference maker to get this mare off the bench home, who we hadn't seen since late in March. And again, I just think she's one of the best mares we've had here in quite some time, and she was one of the best horses in Trinidad. So from Kobe and I think I can speak for Kobe. We need the Boxing Day distaff because her,
It's
Anissa,
mandatory. I need to see who's the best filly in the land. I need to see it.
Honest Nike. I don't care what trip it's at. I just want you. I just want the Turf Club to get these mirrors lining up because they're giving us show after show every race, and it's really good to see the competitiveness that we have going on in Barbados. We talk about like the A class. Obviously, in numbers, it's shorter, but horses on the day are running huge races. I listed some in the opening. Dapper David, Baharikov, etc.
We spoke about paper trail.
Right, exactly. Races are very competitive right now, and I'd love to see the distaff line up. But
I
yeah,
do agree with Sean. When I looked at this race with Princess Aruna, I thought the big sweeping move, it did remind me of Brave Star.
right.
But I thought the big sweeping move was a little bit risky considering how I knew or how I figured Lovely would run home at her. But at the top of the stretch, it looked like Lovely started to breathe down her neck, and Princess Aruna said, "No way, Jose, let's go again." And she kicked into another gear and showed her, "I am the best in this class.
No,
I
yeah,
am
the
the best in
class
this, at
definitely
least
kicks
in the
in the
master
end.
class." But
Right.
the Boxing Day distaff, I can only imagine looking at the likes of Nostradasa, Showtime, fighting for the lead, and then coming for home. You're going to have your closers. You're thinking of Lovely. You're thinking of the same Princess Aruna. Zazi's going to be knocking around in there early. And Nisa, of course, she's going to have something to say in that race. I think there's too many class fillies and class mares not to have this race. This is going to
No,
draw some attention to races. I think this is what we need right now. We need to put, I think horse racing needs a hero, and Nostradasa and Anissa are fighting for who's going to be the hero. And let's put a crown on one of these queens.
no, you could not have said that any better. I agree 100%. But until then, we will continue to hope and continue to put that out there, and hopefully we can get it carded.
Fingers crossed.
But,
Fingers crossed.
what's next to look forward to is, it is race week, and we're going to end the second season with the Groom's Appreciation Race, and it's going to feature the final handicap for the 140s and lower. So we talk about all these mirrors and, the 90s and lowers that are showing, but the 140s are back in the final handicap, and it's going to be a pretty exciting 5.5 furlong final handicap to end the season. So that was the recap of the BTBA race day. I am Rashawn Aline, and this is Kobe Hamlin. Again, may all your tickets be winning ones.
Thank you and good night, all.